Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to render this F1 car using the Untold Engine and the Vision Pro. At the end, you are going to be able to render this F1 car right next to your driveway. And so let's begin. So the first thing that you need to do is install the Untold Engine. And what do you do to do so? You just go to the GitHub page of the Untold Engine. I'm going to provide a link in the description below, but the first thing that you need to do is you need to clone it. And the steps to do so are actually found in the README file. And if you scroll all the way down to the Getting Started section, if you click on the Getting Started, you are going to see the commands to basically clone the Untold Engine. Once you are there, you are basically ready to run the engine. Now, one of the first things that you need to do is you need to create a project, an Xcode project that uses the Untold Engine as a dependency. Now, how do you do that? You can do it the hard way, which is you can do it manually, or you can use a tool that I also created called the Untold Engine Studio. And this is basically an editor that will allow you to create the Xcode project really quick. So how do you get it? Well, you just click on Download Untold Engine Studio, and that will take you to the page where you can actually grab the DMG file. Now, once you have the Untold Engine Studio, you're going to open it, and the first thing that you want to do is click on New. Here you are going to be able to create an Xcode project. So I'm going to call it F1 car game. Let's call it game. Now, you can give it a bundle identifier, and I'm going to call it Untold Engine, and then the name will be F1 car game. Now, for the target platform, you can select the platform that you want your project to work in. In this case, I'm going to use the Vision OS, and then I'm just going to choose and find the output directory, basically where do you want your project to be installed in. So I'm going to use my download folder, and when you click create, you are going to see this window that will tell you that the project was created and that you can either open it in Finder or you can open it in Xcode. I'm going to open it in Xcode right now so that you can see what was created. All right, so now here, let me just make this a little bit bigger so you can actually see everything. But as you can see, we created an F1 car game project. The Untold Engine was linked as a dependency, as you can see here under package dependencies. Now, if you open up the folders, the game data is basically your resource folder. This is where you're going to have all of your meshes, your files, basically your resource files, textures, mesh data, etc. And the sources is where you are going to get your all of your. This is basically where you're going to be doing all of the coding, right? So if you go into game scene, you are going to see the initialization function. And from here, you can actually just code the game. Well, in this case, we're just going to render our car, all right? So the first thing that you want to do is we want to import the F1 car that we have installed, or that we want to render. So in the editor, what you want to do, you want to go to import, then click on import models, and then you want to look for the F1 car that we want to render. Now, one of the things that you need to remember is that the Untold Engine will only accept USD files. So from Blender, what you need to do is you need to export this to a USD file. So I already have done that, so I'm just going to look for that for my F1 USD file that I already have. Once you have found your USD file, now you can import it into the editor. Now, one thing to also remember is that the input file that the Untold Engine can accept is the USD file. but the runtime file is an untold file. Basically, and that is confusing. Basically, the native asset format for the engine is an untold. It's called the untold format. So basically, the editor is going to convert the USD file into the native format that the Untold Engine can actually work with. And from this point on, well, what you have to do is make sure that you have convert orientation checked, and we click export. And this will basically export the USD file into an Untold format file. And it's going to take a little bit of time. And once this is completed, if you want to look at the car, you simply click on F1 car untold, and you should see the F1 car actually being rendered on the scene. Now, something to keep in mind is the Untold Engine Studio is just an editor. It's not the game engine itself. It uses the Untold Engine as a dependency, but the editor is just a tool that allows you to set up the whole scene for you to, set up your meshes, move them around, etc., and also to create a project. If you head it to your project, the F1 car game project that we created, and you go under the game data folder, you go under models, you are going to see that we now have the F1 car that untold files available to us. All right. So from this point on, what do you do? Right. So if you go to game scene and you go to the init function, what you're going to have now is that right after this line configure the engine systems, you are now able to basically create an entity and then load up the car that we want to, the mesh that we want to render. And if you go actually to the repo, the getting started repo, I already have all of that available for you to use. So for example, I'm just going to copy. If you go to here to this section, loading single asset is basically the section where you're going to find the code snippet that you need. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to go into Xcode, and I'm going to go here. And so first of all, we create an entity. Then we give the entity a name. So let's call this F1 car. And now we call the set entity mesh async function. Now this function is basically the function that will go into the untold files, grab all of the data, and basically create your buffers and link everything so that you actually see something on the Vision Pro. So now for the file name, we need to make sure that we give it the correct file name, which is in this case going to be F1 car. F1 car. And do we want to translate it? Not really. And we don't need the kinetics, so this should be okay. We don't need this either. And at this point, when you click, when you click the Vision Pro device that you want to use, and you install it into your Vision Pro, you should be able to see the F1 car being rendered on your driveway, for example. So why don't we go and do that so you can actually go see it. All right, so this is how the F1 car is getting rendered next to my truck and on my driveway. It took me a little bit of a while to get the car rotated, but in the end, I was able to do that. But again, you can see how you can actually see the car. It's quite cool to actually see how big the F1 car actually is, and that's basically what I wanted to show you guys. I hope this video was entertaining, and also it shows you how easy it is for you to render a 3D mesh using the Untold Engine, and in this case the Vision Pro. Again, you do not have to render it on the Vision Pro. Not every one of us has one, but you can render it on your Mac, on your phone, etc. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.